Hey folks, Dr. Dennis here, the Wellness Doc, bringing you all things healthy for your mind, your body, and your soul. So the purpose of this video today is to share my personal story of how I was able to overcome severe damage and trauma to my spine, to the point that I was partially paralyzed in 2012. So let's turn back the clock a little bit. When I was 22, I was a professional ice hockey player. Tremendous forces on the lower back, and it's not uncommon for hockey players to have back issues, low back involvement. I also decided to continue weight training after my professional career was over and took it to an extreme level where I was pushing the limit, and I did hurt my back often, but was able to recover and did not change my methods. And at the same time, I was helping patients with significant neurological disorders where when I was walking with them, they would fall out of midair at any time, because when you have conditions like spinal cord injury, strokes, multiple sclerosis, there is a lack of motor control, there is a lack of stability, balance, and coordination. We can talk in more detail in another video. So the purpose today is to really share my diagnostic imaging report, my MRI, and this was from 2012. I want to preface this by saying that at 55, we're talking 8 to 9 years ago, again, where I was almost partially paralyzed, to now where I train 6 days a week. I have no limitations, I have zero pain, and I still teach ice hockey and can skate. So that is an anomaly. I have created a system where I was the guinea pig, and I've been able to replicate these tremendous, abnormal, extreme results with hundreds of others. So if you'd like a copy of my MRI, please leave your information in the description box below. And I won't go into too much detail because I want to keep this video short. So let's get right to it. So the areas that were involved for me basically was the whole lower back. So right where the ribs end in your lower back, that's T12. So all the way down to where, that curve in a lower back, right where that ends, where your hips start, to S1. So all of that was involved. And the terminology that has come up includes bulging discs, protrusion of discs, tearing of the annular fibrosis, which is the outer covering that protects the disc, the gel-like substance. And we have narrowing of the spinal canal, which there's a correlation between nerve involvement, nerve damage, and narrowing of that canal. So that makes sense that I was partially paralyzed. Another term that came up was an anterolisthesis, which is a forward, it could be a backwards, but in this case an antero, it's a forward slipping of one vertebrae over another, one of the bones in your back over another, and it's a significant slippage of it moving forward on top of the other. That's a huge problem. Not only is there instability there, but now we're getting nerve involvement, we're getting the interpretation of information through the nervous system, through the spinal canal, back up to the brain is interrupted. There's misinformation, almost like when a computer gets a virus. So that's what's written behind me at each of the levels. And it seems like, in my case, where we start at T12L1, the damage is not too bad. It's minimal, actually. But as we start going down the spine to the next levels, level 2, lumbar 2 to 3, 3 to 4, most of the common areas where you're going to see these conditions includes L4 to L5 and L5 to S1. So in my case, that anterolesthesis, that forward slippage, was at L5S1. And that makes sense because that basically shut down the sciatic nerve, which I'm sure most of you heard. And by the way, sciatica is a general condition, but it involves that huge nerve that stems from that area, and helps your ability to control to walk, your ability to walk. And then the levels above L2 to L4, that actually is the femoral nerve, which controls the front part of the leg. And that makes sense where if you don't have the front working and if you don't have the back working, you can't really walk. So that's where I was. That was a quick synopsis of what's behind me. One last thing there and within the report are the areas of the bone where it kind of fits like puzzle pieces into each other, and that helps create stability. They're called facets or facet joints. And when we have trauma to an area, the brain gets a little confused, and then we have abnormal bone growth because of irritation. So that's what happened there. It's not hypertrophy like a muscle. When a muscle gets super strong and the muscle grows, this is abnormal bone growth, which is detrimental, especially in the spine where there's limited space. So then we have nerve root compression, nerve involvement, and the things we just shared about. So I hope that wasn't too long, but I wanted to share that to tell everyone out here that there's hope. And surgery is not for everyone, especially with the spine. Half of the people don't need it. And these conditions like sciatica, like herniated discs, stenosis, spinal stenosis, don't necessarily require surgery. I just want to say also that when we have spinal conditions, and I've said this in my other videos, it's never one condition. It's a coupling effect. So it's very common that we have some type of degeneration arthritis in the bones with some type of narrowing of the spinal canal with some type of involvement in the disc, whether it's a herniation, whether it's a protrusion, or whether there actually is a tear in that outer part. So that's the point I wanted to make. The approach needs to be extremely customized. So if you like this video, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and leave a comment. And please share what other topics you'd like me to discuss, as I have experienced a lot in my life, and I've had tremendous mentors, at the level of Jack LaLanne across many areas of medicine and fitness. And my goal is to help you optimize your level of life and health and moving forwards, because there's no limits unless you think there are.